Hello everyone, I'm Irma Baker. Welcome to our show. So good to have you with us, and it's so good to have Robert Fenn with us again. I just love it when he comes and tells us all the ins and outs of what's happening with Social Security. You know, that affects a lot of us, so let's get right into it. And oh, by the way, everybody, I want you to remember that you can always go back and rewatch our shows. This one especially has a lot of valuable information that you may want to refer to later. So watch WCTV, look for RSVP, and you'll be able to rewatch the show. So glad to have you with us, and Robert, welcome. Glad to have you with us again.
It's good to be back. Good to see you as well, Mer.
Well, great. Let's get right into it. Yes. We have there are always changes every year to Social Security. So what do you have for us today?
Yeah, well, we have a variety of topics that I just want to get in there. Of course, we want to talk about the updates. I want to talk about an important program that I think seniors may not be aware of. That I want to let them know about on March 7th, we have an important date that we are promoting. So the first thing I want to make sure we cover is the updates in terms of due to the cost of living adjustment. Many people know now, since we're already end of February, going into March, whatever, into March, 3.2% was the cost of living adjustment. And with that came other changes. As you mentioned, there's always some type of change. So there's an amount at which individuals can work, and they'll still see Social Security taxes deducted from their wages. I'm finding that many seniors will speak to me and then they'll say, since I am working, if they decided to go back and find a part-time job and they're getting Social Security, they're thinking that we are no longer going to have deductions for the Social Security tax, known as the FICA tax. But that is true, that Social Security taxes are still deducted from an individual's earnings if you decide to go back to work. Now, it may not affect your Social Security check, but the actual earnings that you're making, W-2 or self-employment net earnings, are affected up to $168,000, $168,600. So they'll still see that 6.2% deducted from their benefit.
So basically what you're saying is if somebody is looking, and Social Security is a help, but it really isn't designed to cover all your expenses.
Absolutely.
So many people on Social Security do need to pick up a part-time job or something, and that's income, and therefore there are Social Security taxes that are taken out of it.
That's right. So on this slide, they will be able to see the different dollar amounts that an individual would have deducted from their Social Security benefits, or up to the amount, $168,000. You'll see $600. As well on the slide, you'll see that their quarter of coverage has changed. That means if someone is working and they're wanting to know if I'm not what we call a Social Security insured, meaning they're not getting a check, but they're wanting to know how much do I need to make for it to count. This year would be $1,730 to get 1 quarter of coverage. You can get as many as 4 per year, so they can do the math. They have a calculator in front of them. $1,730 times 4, they'll get that dollar amount. As well as what we're mentioning about work, so I'm glad you brought that up, Myrna, is the dollar amount which you can make and still receive your Social Security benefits. So in 2024, you can make, excuse me, as you see on the screen here, it should be up there, $22,320 if you're less than your full retirement age. If you're turning your full retirement age, that dollar amount this year is $59,520. So those are the two dollar amounts that most individuals who are getting retirement benefits need to be aware of. If they're less than their full retirement age, then it would be the $22,320, and if they are their full retirement age or turning that this year, $59,520, and once they're over the full retirement age, then they have unlimited income in terms of Social Security benefits.
Boy, there are a lot of numbers to keep in mind.
Which is on first, yes.
Yes. Well, but it's something that I think we should all be very grateful to have that available to us.
It's important.
Yes. So what else is new?
Yeah, no, so with that, I noticed how you said some people are still trying to work. Some people are working just because they want to have, something to do. We all are very productive people, and so we want to feel that we're still contributing to society and we're doing something. And some people are so used to getting up and working a 40-hour a week, they're like, okay, I just want to get out and do something. Whether it's a small job, meaning small to them, or something, again, just to keep them out. Now, unfortunately, some individuals, that Social Security check, as you mentioned, was never meant to be the sole income for an individual, even though I know that many individuals do rely on it as the majority of their income. My point is this: there's another program that I'm finding that many people may not be aware of. It's known as SSI, Supplemental Security Income. So let me explain what that is. The next slide will pull up and you'll be able to see that individuals, they can, based upon their income, they may be eligible for some of this SSI benefit. The SSI program goes for anyone who is disabled, blind at any age, and or age 65. Just because of their age, they may be potentially eligible for SSI benefits.
How would they know that they're eligible for it?
Excellent question. So they would know based upon contacting Social Security and their income. At the bottom of the screen, you will see the number $943. If an individual's income, total income, is underneath $943, so let's say they're getting a Social Security retirement check, and I'll say $600. They're getting $600 per month. Now, between $943 and $600 is $343. That person may be potentially eligible because of just their age, if they're at least 65, and they have that income less than $943, we may be able to pay them. Now, we will look at, on the next slide, you will see there's certain criteria which they're going to look at to answer your question in more detail. We look at their earned income as well as their unearned income. So if they were working, that will be the wages. And if it was unearned, that would be Social Security benefits. So we look at the income, and on the next slide, we will look at what we call their resources. So we would look to see if the individual is working, but they have some savings. So a bank account, an extra home. Now I joke a little bit, it's just my sense of humor, but just forgive me. But I tell people you can have your mansion and you can have a Lamborghini. But if you have another Porsche and another mansion somewhere else, we're going to look at that extra Porsche and we're going to look at that extra mansion. So, and I should say this, many times people say, well, you have to sell everything or they're going to take anything. That's not Social Security. We're not taking anyone's income or anything like that at all. We're just looking to see if you have the ability to tap into a resource. And if your resource is over $2,000 for an individual or $3,000 for a couple, then it may affect that SSI payment. My point is, it's better to ask us. Then we can see if you're due, in my example, that extra $343. So that's the SSI program for, again, those who are age 65 and have limited income and limited resources. The income amounts that I mentioned up there was the $2,000 in resources, and for a couple, $3,000.
That makes a lot of sense, because it sounds like what you're doing is you want to make sure that people who need it get it.
Yes.
And on the other hand, you want to make sure that the money is available to spread over the most people.
That's right.
So people who have other resources, have other income, and are not in really, some people can be in a very desperate situation.
Absolutely. And that's what's important. And we found that in certain pockets around in this area, that the number of applications for SSI actually dwindled compared to prior to the pandemic. So that's why I'm doing this outreach, to make sure people know they have this resource. And on the next slide here, you'll be able to see the different ways in which you can contact Social Security. So I think this is important because people say, well, okay, that may be me. Well, how do I do it? Well, you can go to our website, or you can call our 800 number, which is 1-800-772-1213. That's our national number. Or go to socialsecurity.gov. You can have a loved one help you, or you can go to our local office and they can set up an appointment. The next slide is going to show you, if you have someone help you, they can actually go to our website, socialsecurity.gov, click the word benefits at the top. You see that first red arrow, or the word apply. You click that screen, it'll bring you to the next slide, and you will be able to see if they hit the word disability. Then the next slide, it'll bring you up to this. Now I'm gonna pause right here. This is important, because if someone else is helping another individual, son's helping mom, that type of situation, and the son says, I don't have time, I'm not able to help mom fill out the full application. This screen here, if the son answers a series of questions, mom's name, date of birth, social security number, what have you, on this screen, it will create like a lead. And now we will contact the person, we'll contact mom, and we'll take it from there. So that way we can see if she's eligible for those benefits. So that's a great option that they have by going to our website, wsocialsecurity.gov, and then we'll get that option by just clicking on the word disability.
Okay, I'm going to stop right here.
That's right.
Because, and this is going to kind of lead us into our next topic too, and that is, just because you get a call from Social Security doesn't mean it's from Social Security.
Absolutely.
What we're talking about right here is someone you've designated, you personally, you're the person who needs the Social Security help, and you have a son, you have a daughter, you have someone who has actually filled out that information and
correct
generated the request for the call.
Yes.
Not out of the blue.
That's right. That's right. Excellent. Let's pull up the next slide. Because what she's referring to is on March 7th, we at Social Security, we are paired up with an agency called OIG, Office of Inspector General. You're going to start seeing these commercials. You may hear them on the radio. And what we're referring to is that there are scams that are taking place. There are individuals out there, and I know it's not going to sound nice, but there's some jerks out there. And they will prey on individuals who may need that extra assistance, right? And unfortunately, these scams are taking place. And so you're going to see this commercial, you'll see this little screenshot that I'm sharing with you. On March 7th, it's going to be a full-out blitz across, different social media, radio, and television, and newspapers, so you'll see that. Let me share the next slide with you, and why this is important. And we have, in 2023, you can see those numbers at the top in terms of total imposters of individuals posing for scams, 164,000, over 164,000 reports. 38,852 are those with Social Security. But notice the next column there at the top of the screen here, $483 million total loss. In terms of Social Security benefits, $101 million in terms of these imposter scams.
So what you're saying is that people have been scammed so badly. These are people who need Social Security, who need that income from that, and 101.58 million was
related to Social Security. Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes. The next slide, please. And I want you to see that it also goes based by age. This is why you and I, Irma, are talking about this. For those who are 29 and under, they lost an average of $3,000, almost $4,000. So it happens to any demographic, right?
That's
even
surprising.
Younger people. Yeah, because younger people think, oh, Social Security, I don't need to think about that. Well, it could be their Social Security number compromised. All the way to the top of the screen, for those who are 85 and older, they lost an average of $10,000, almost $300, $10,289. So that's why this is very important that we get the word out to be aware. So the next screen, please. There are a variety of scams out there, and as you can see, there's a variety of ways in which they can contact you. They may call, they may email, they may text, they may just write a letter, and then they may go through social media. So they create false pages. So let me share some of those with you. In the next slide, please. Any way that you see these scams, there's red flags. They always want to threaten. They need your PII, your personal identifying information. They request immediate reaction, and I'm going to repeat these, so don't worry about that. And they will look to seize your bank account information. Next slide. Because Social Security, we're never going to ever threaten you for anything. So here are some signs that I want everyone to be aware of. Pretending that they're someone else. There's a prize or a problem involved. Pressure and a payment. Next slide. Here are some screenshots so you can see of documents that may be mailed to an individual. On the left-hand side, you see one document that's clearly fake. And notice how big the Social Security emblem is. That's not something that we do. We don't. We have certain guidelines on how big we can impose on our letterhead. In the middle of the screen here, if someone was going on our website or going to our website, which is socialsecurity.gov, but if the individual went to a wrong website, socialsecurity.com or what have you, you can see where it asks for the mother's maiden name and what have you. That's what's on the screen. We don't do that. That's not something we would do. And on the far right-hand side, this letter looks like us because we do send out documents that say Social Security Administration at the top. But within, you can see there's some scribbling underneath the word fake. We are not going to scribble certain things out, what have you. They have copied one of our letters and then tried to issue it in order to just get some information. So again, I like how you pointed out that they will be able to refer to this show again, and then they can look at some of these slides to see if they received some of this documentation. And the next slide, please. And then here's the problem part of it. They'll say that your Social Security number is going to be suspended. We can't even suspend a Social Security number. That's not something that's even possible. But if you're in the public, you don't know that. And it says within 24 hours. So it's creating that sense of urgency, trying to make you do something. And then they'll say there's a problem with the Social Security number. And there's an ongoing investigation. Those are some of those action words that they're trying to get you to have a little fear and a little jerk, in your soul, almost. You're like, what is going on? The next screen. And if you receive these phone calls, period, someone threatening you, just hang up, point blank. And as you said, Irma, that if someone contacts you and you did not contact Social Security to initiate that phone conversation, there is more than likely that's not us. We do mail letters out, but we will have a phone number. You can call us, or you can ignore the letter and just call the 1-800 number, 772-1213, and say, hey, is this real? Is this from Social Security? And we will let you know whether or not we need to have communication with you. And we mail multiple letters. The point is this: no one at Social Security is going to threaten you that you have to do X, Y, Z. You have to do this at a certain amount of time. Put money on a gift card or some type of debit card or Bitcoin. That is not Social Security at all. I've had relatives and family members who received those phone calls during the pandemic. I received a phone call probably once a week, only up to like 9 times. The audacity. I'm like, I work for Social Security and I still get the phone call, but it happens. The next screen, please. Make sure to put up the slide. We want you to know that you can report this. Go to socialsecurity.gov or the OIG, Office of Inspector General, and to report in your financial losses. What type of scam? They will ask you questions if you report this, even in the voice of that person. How did they sound? Was it a twang? What time of the day did they call you? So there's a variety of things that they're going to want to know. So just be aware of that. You can do it anonymous, but we do need as much information as possible so that way we can trace these individuals.
Yeah, you want to shut them down as much as you can.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it's important because if we would slow down in terms of our conversation and in our thoughts, when these letters come or these phone calls come, you're totally caught off guard, right? And in many times, it could be the classic one that many people are aware of, but not everyone knows when it hits them. It's your grandchild, and you hear that something's wrong. And they may even say the grandchild's name. They may even say your name. And so your heart starts to beat a little faster, and you're a good person, you want to help. And so you say, well, what can I do? All right, well, I need to run to the bank. I need to take out my Social Security money. I need to send it here. Oh, I'm right there. Oh, pause. Why did this person call you? Right? And if it was a grandson, I would call the the child's parents to say, hey, do you know that your son's in trouble? What's going on? Because why are they asking me for the money, right? So you need to just pause and do that. Again, unfortunately, there are people out there who aren't doing the right thing. Fortunately, there are a lot of us who are doing the right thing. And so that's what OIG and Social Security is looking to promote March 7th. Slam the scam. That's what we're looking to do. So just be aware of that.
So March 7th is Slam the Scam.
Yes.
But when you come right down to it, every day is Slam the Scam.
Yes. Every day is Slam the Scam. I like that. I need to tell the higher ups. That's so great for that. We'll see if we write you a check for that. No. Yeah. But every day you need to be aware. You be cognizant of that. That if there's notifications, emails, and what have you. And I don't want everyone to feel this sense of fear. I just want you to be aware. And we're just using that day, March 7th, to promote that so everyone can be aware and we can all protect one another.
We really just need to be prepared, as you've helped us, in the last couple minutes right there, helping us to prepare for the possibility that we will get one of these calls. I've gotten them too.
Yes.
And it's like, wait a minute, just who are you?
Yes, what's going on here? And I think on the next slide here, if someone needed to, they can. This is what we call a QR code. Now, I know not everyone uses it, but I need to make sure I say that. I'm going to get on my soapbox a little second here, Irma. Many people will say, I don't have a computer. I understand that. There are some people even say, I don't like computers. I understand that. But I asked them, I said, do you have a cell phone? And they go, yes. I said, well, do you realize that that cell phone is just a computer that you use as a phone? So you have a computer. That's how you check your grandson's pictures on Facebook. You are using a computer. That same phone, most of them will allow you to use this QR code. On your phone, you'll be able to scan this and it'll lead you right to the site. So that way you don't have to say, am I on the right site, what have you? So again, we're going to leave this on WCTV, so individuals will have access to this, and then they can scan that and they will see it. And I believe that's our last slide there.
Well, let me ask you while this slide is up here.
Yes.
Because I'll tell you, I have never scanned anything, a QR code. I don't even know what QR means.
Yes.
But are you saying that somebody can bring that up on their TV or on their phone, or how would they scan it?
Yes, so this will be on our site, and it will be on the WCTV. They can just lift their phone up, and then they will find in their phone settings where they'll see the QR code. They'll just hit that little button on their cell phone, hold it up to the screen, and it'll pull up a link. They click on the link and it'll lead them right to, as the bottom of the screen says, OIG, Office of Inspector General, .SSA, Social Security Administration.gov report. So just by showing their cell phone toward the screen, they'll be able to pull that up. Now, if they decided not to do that, they still can go to socialsecurity.gov. At the top of our banner, they can, there's a search button. They can just type in OIG and it'll lead them to them as well.
Well, I want to make one more point here while we have this up on the screen, because this is another opportunity for scams. I can see where someone might fake a QR code.
Yes.
But what we're saying here is only do that if you go to that website, to the oigssa.gov/report.
Yes.
And you get this QR code from that site.
There you go.
Or right here at WCTV, if you go back to this program, which you can, video on demand, RSVP, you can find it. So don't think that if you get a letter through the mail and it has a QR code on it, that it's the real QR code.
That's right, that's right. Excellent. So if it was just sent to you out of the blue, and you didn't expect it, more than likely that's some other source, because there could be possible legitimate source, but it won't be Social Security. So that's why I'm giving this information so you know what is Social Security, and that's that oig.ssa.gov/report. And you get it right from us, from our source. So if I am giving you something, you know it came from me versus someone posing as if they are Robert Finn. There's only one. So there's only one Social Security Administration, and there's the only one that's legit. So I love that you put that out there. So just be aware of that. Now, at the same time, I understand some people say, that's just not my thing. That's okay. You still can contact Social Security to call the 1-800-772-1213 number just to verify some information. That can be done. And at the end of the day, if there's anything that the viewers are catching on to and they're wanting to know, well, what do I do? And if you feel that threatening, we are going to suspend your Social Security number. You have to put this money on a debit card. You have to do something that is creating that sense of urgency. Hang up. Point blank. Just hang up. Now, I have to say this too, because I have had to contact individuals and give them a little phone call. And as soon as I say, this is Robert Finn, Social Security, as soon as they hear it, they'll just hang up. I'm like, well, hold on. Just pause, see what the individual wants. Now, if they're asking you to disclose some information, then you know it's an issue. Because if I'm contacting you and I'm from Social Security, don't I already know your Social Security number? Why would I be asking for that? Right? I need you to take some type of action. Well, can I come into the office? So that false imposter would say, no, 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 you don't need to do all that, right? They will try to keep you away from contacting Social Security. And I will say this, unfortunately, they're pretty savvy. My word was the jerks. They are savvy. They even know how to change the caller ID. So some people will read the caller ID and says, U.S. government or Social Security, so they think it's legit. You can answer the phone. How may I help you? You need more information from me? All right, then you know that's an example of where you need to hang up. If we do need information, we can say, hey, give us a call at 1-800-772-1213, or you can come into our local office and we can verify that letter that was mailed to you. So we will be working alongside with you so that way you have that comfort level to know it is Social Security. Again, as you said perfectly, if you did not generate the contact, you did not make an appointment, more than likely you should have a little caution before you respond.
Oh, you have given us a wealth of information today, Robert. I am so glad you came in, and I'm so glad that you provided all these visuals for us, because now our viewers can go back to watchwctv.com, RSVP, video on demand, and find those different parts of our show where we showed these numbers on the screen, like the 1-800 number and the phone number. That's the 1-800 number. So thank you so much for being with us today. I want you to come back.
I will.
You are our contact with Social Security. And you come back too. We hope that you often watch our show and do go back and rewatch them, everyone. So thank you so much. Have a wonderful day. For RSVP, I'm Irma Baker.
You are watching WCTV, Wadsworth Community Television.